You think that Heidi would make a good
Would she stand
Zootopia
on
animal?
should she stand on her like back legs and walk?
No. And thick. Oh my god. She would replace
She'd be Ice Spice.
Shakira. I would say Shakira.
But like Ice Spice who doesn't feel like have you seen that video of Ice Spice like twerking, but she looks like she does not want to be there?
Heidi.
Yeah. She
also
agrees.
does that when she wants more pets.
I'm mad. Hello and welcome to Our Internet, a podcast about things you don't want to know, but you soon will.
Yeah.
I am your tax evading host, Tipsy Ghoul.
And I am your sweepy little co-host, Phoebe Enemy. I had to think about like a funny way to say my introduction because you did tax evasion, and I have a few questions for you. So when you say like tax, is that like, are you thinking like Monopoly?
No.
Oh no.
Like real taxes.
So because we like to tax like the president, I had a few questions to ask you, and they're very topical, and you're welcome. So the first is, would you fully dodge that? Yeah, it's like
God.
The first is would you dodge that bullet?
Wait.
And then second is would you raise taxes?
Yeah, I would raise taxes.
Are you a tax the rich guy?
Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah.
Tax the rich and also raise taxes on the poor too.
You want to raise taxes on the poor? Because you know they're already not doing enough.
Going down but me.
I am the middle class. Yeah. The middle it's like the middle child's coming out of you.
Well, yeah, because I don't pay. Fuck it. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to me.
That's perfect.
Doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to me.
All right, so we have an interesting topic today.
Mm-hmm.
Vtubers.
Yeah.
Have you heard of them?
I have heard of some Vtubers. Personally, as a person who has dabbled in like streaming on Twitch, which is like video games and stuff, I actually tried to become a VTuber. So I've struggled, I think, in the past of just like not ever wanting to show myself online, but still wanting to have an online presence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. That's why I don't show my face.
Yeah. So it's like I've always thought like VTubing would be perfect for me because it's just a little PNG.
Just a little guy.
Yeah, just a little guy that sits there.
A little fella. He's a little birthday boy. He's just out there.
When I was dabbling with like VTubing, I looked up and I bought like a specific camera for tracking, and then I started looking into different VTubers, and there was one Australian one that played Overwatch because that was my main game, was Overwatch. It was this Australian VTuber who was like pretty new, and she was thinking about creating a community. She was a partner, and she was like, I want to create like a VTuber community, because any of the communities for VTubing that I've seen online were pretty catty and like toxic.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, like I will say anything I've seen VTuber wise, they're always like another VTuber is at throats with another VTuber.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like been mine. But like the few main ones I know, so I like know the Code Miko, the one that does like the hyper realistic VTubing. I just saw actually a reel of her playing with one with like realistic hair. So wild. Like she didn't have hair on, but her VTube avatar did. And then she was like running her hand through, and it was like it looked as if she was playing with her hair. It was wild.
Yeah, I have holes in my brain. I couldn't tell the difference between a real woman and that. I'm just a man.
You're like, that is real.
I'm terminally online. I can't tell anymore. It's all become the same thing.
Yeah. But there's a few online people that I've seen that I know, like friends wise, that that are VTubers. There's one in my guild that is like a VTuber. He's kind of like a demon one. There's one that my friend's guild, or not my friend's guild, my friend's server, she's like a polar bear. Her name is like Shion Rin. She's kind of cool. And then there's
I wouldn't suspect a polar bear to be Chinese, but
yeah, I don't know. And she's like is in a full ball gown, but like has polar bear ears. And if I was like thinking VTuber, I'm thinking like you're a polar bear.
I would have went Russian approach with like the tall white hat, like you know, like the big fluffy hat, and like just like and just
Yeah.
Russian accent, and then that's a polar bear to me
Yep.
because apparently they like show up in Russia. They're just
Really?
they're just there sometimes.
That's
Yeah,
insane. I
and
wouldn't.
Canada. Sometimes they'll show up in Canada too.
They're like vicious too.
Like I think there was they are. There was a polar bear that kept or like there was an albino bear that kept showing like that was in Canada. That was just kind of hanging out. He's a grizzly
What?
bear, and people keep tranquilizing him and sending him back to the Arctic where he had to like fight for his fucking
They
life.
they
And
send them
then
back.
people would realize the mistake and send him back down to Canada, and then some other group would send him back up.
He just is
And that
like
happened 3
living.
times.
The poor polar bear is just living his life, and they're just
No, it's a grizzly bear that was
Oh, a
white.
grizzly
Yeah, he was just a white grizzly bear. Kept going back.
Oh my god, they were like, it's white.
He's like, oh no, this fresh hell again.
If that is not a take on racism, I don't know what is. Okay, so I did promise that I would show you my VTuber avatar. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
asked me off before we started what my name was. Oh my god, I just threw my phone. And because I was not the type of person to be like an original character, I just made myself. And so like it was
Mhm.
it's just a picture of me from a person who made it on Fiverr, and I was just like, the only thing I want is like I want cat ear headphones and I want rainbow hair because I have colored hair. So it
Mhm.
was like that was the main things I wanted. But I've never gone into like the avatar creation, like
Mm.
character or like animal type of it.
Looked pretty good. How much was it?
It was like 100 and some odd dollar. It was pretty expensive.
That seems pretty cheap.
Well, I will say it was expensive for me at the time. It was like a couple hundred. It was like, oh, and they rigged it for you and everything. So it was like
Yeah,
all
that
ready.
okay. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Stuff like that is a way more nowadays. They go
Oh yeah.
as you were saying earlier, like with like realistic hair and stuff like that, or like
Yup.
switchable outfits, or like changing expressions on their face.
Yeah.
Insane.
I actually told a friend of ours that because he does like game development, I told him that if he wanted to make side money that he should rig VTuber things because he knows how to do it. I was like, if you
Yes,
need
of
side money,
course.
I was like, side money for you, just rig VTuber
If
avatars.
I knew how to make like furry like stuff, I would absolutely just make furry stuff all day and be a fucking billionaire. But
Yeah.
anyway, we should probably like back up a little bit. People
Oh,
may not
yes.
even know what a VTuber is.
That is very true.
They're just like they're hearing this and they're like, "What? What
We've
could it
just
possibly be?"
overloaded.
Yeah. They're like, "What? Animated woman?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. It's the facade without having to show your face.
Yes.
And more along the appeal of like people who just like animated things, like people like cartoons and
Mm-hmm.
watching like realistic TV. So you're gonna be more just into watching a cartoon person play fucking Overwatch instead of just watching some like greasy streamer play it instead.
I think that's a really interesting take too, because I never thought about like what the character, like the
Mhm.
cartoon character playing the game, what experience that could be. So like I don't watch a lot of VTuber streams.
Mhm.
So personally for you, do you think that a VTuber heightens your stream experience than just watching like a normal person?
I don't know because I watch a lot of VTubers, but I also watch a lot of normal like flesh tubers, I guess is what
Yeah.
you call them, as well. But I'll watch VTubers more when I'm like just kind of like not zoned out, but like
Yeah.
I'm not like trying to watch a person
Mm-hmm.
like do something, like I'm not trying to watch like some guy deep cut. Some guy build a like a house in the middle of like India with like rocks and sticks and stuff like that. I'm
Yes,
just
true.
watching some goofy little cartoon jump back and forth while I watch them like Ace and Valorant.
So that's the thing. I with VTubing and watching someone, I feel like I am enamored with the way that VTubers work and
Hmm.
manage their streams because they have like I've said, certain animations that they like do for their VTuber. Like they give
Hmm.
like expressions or
Yeah.
like emotions. And I think that that's like really cool. But at the same time, I don't know if you can convey everything like a human can.
Right.
with a VTuber. So I feel like that's where I lean more towards.
Yeah, but I also I come across the thought of a lot of people don't really think VTubers are people,
Yeah.
which I came across just kind of watching as a VTuber one day, and I'm like, I really just thought to myself one day, it's like this isn't. I don't see this as a person. I know it's a person. I know
Yeah.
it's a person behind that, so I would never say something like cringe or mean to them
Yeah.
or like something degrading because they're actually a person.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you're looking at a little cartoon, you're not like thinking it's I don't know. Yeah.
No,
Just like
no,
it's
I completely get that because I think that because we went over like a little bit about what we're going to talk about today,
mm,
and I it really made me think about like that exact thought about how like treating a VTuber as an actual human being as opposed to the character that they're portraying.
mm-hmm. I mean, because I mean, it is a character at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I mean,
True.
who are all of us who's done like a waitressing job,
Yeah.
but a VTuber? You're not really excited to bring someone their water
Yeah,
or get their
but
steak remade.
gotta make that bag.
Yeah, but it's tough. I
Yeah.
can see it being tough in that way where it's you're just take people take you for granted instead of just like where
Yeah.
you see like an actual flesh tuber like where it's just like a it's actual guy
Yeah,
or girl, you know.
you can make that association in your head that this like is a person, should be treated with respect,
Mm-hmm.
but like a
Mm-hmm.
cartoon, it's so difficult sometimes like for people to bridge that reality.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what excites you, or what do you enjoy with VTubers? Like,
I mean, I thought it was like when I was started watching VTubers, like
mm-hmm,
it was a joke. I remember telling someone at a party about VTubers and they were just looking at me like I was crazy. I never watched them, but
mm-hmm,
I told him all about it. And he looked at me like I was like a crazy person. He didn't like believe me that that was happening.
yeah.
Uh but like yeah, I used to watch a lot of Achievement Hunter.
Oh.
Yeah, when I was like a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
like all the way up until when it ended, rip.
Mm.
Um and Ray, who left Achievement Hunter, Ray Narvaez Jr. left Achievement Hunter and like started streaming on his own.
Oh.
Eventually, he got into like a VTuber
Yeah.
group, or he's not VTubing, but like he would play a lot of games with VTubers, and so I
Oh.
saw all their personalities come back, and then like their clips and their
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And then I started watching Chibi Doki, which is always on like his streams, like like
Oh,
his
I see.
collaborative streams. But then I just started watching her because I was like, oh, this is funny, haha. It's still a joke, and then it's just like it's not a joke anymore. Like I
It's
was fucking yeah, I enjoy
I'm
them a lot.
invested.
Yeah, now and then it just kept it snowballed and snowballed
Mm-hmm.
and snowballed. So now I'm like watching Twitch, just like a bunch of VTubers. I'm like, oh, I'm not in mood for VTubers. I'll watch like Hassan or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Nice.
yeah. So it became like a weird. It's like
It's like when you ironically watch something and then it's unironically
It's
like
literally like
your
it's
whole thing
literally
now.
like people who watch My Little Pony, like and love it. It's literally that. It's literally bronies. Like
Yes.
when I suggested VTubers, I knew this would turn into like that video of that like oh my god, oh it makes me cringe just thinking about it. That video of this high schooler giving a presentation on My Little Pony
Oh no.
and he has like a slideshow and he's like taking it so seriously. He's trying to convince his classmates and it makes me want to die every time I watch it. And now I'm doing it
And then
now.
you're
But
like,
now I'm doing it but
are
with
you
VTubers.
telling me that you
Yeah.
wanted to
If
create a
I had
PowerPoint for this?
if I would have if we had the board up here, I definitely would have done it. I absolutely would have done it and I
I'm putting a note in.
oh my god,
Include
yeah,
whiteboard for next episode.
I'm gonna scream. uh but yeah, that's pretty much where I started with VTubing,
Okay.
watching those kind of streams
Mm-hmm.
and just taking in all that like culture and stuff like that and like understanding that they have like groups and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that They have groups because they're friends, or they
Yeah.
have groups because they're coworkers, which is like the
Yeah.
rough part about it.
Yeah.
Um, the rough part and the good part, because like, it's like in a good way, you're just like, oh, you're like friends at a company.
Yeah.
Like you go into work, you see your best friend, and you're just like,
Hell yeah.
you're like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna have like a horrible lunch period, but we're
Right?
gonna be here together and we're gonna like it.
Yeah.
But then there's also like the other side of it where like the corporation is telling you to do something
Yeah.
and then you kind of have to just do it.
Which is shitty, man. Like that is it's rough because I feel like it's the same for flesh tubers too, because everybody's part of specific organizations, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's awesome that everyone's a part of these organizations, but then the obligation comes so much, and it's like, do these people actually enjoy their quote unquote coworkers, or are they just doing this because that's what makes them money?
Hard to say.
Yeah,
Who knows but them? That's up
exactly.
to them and God.
Up to them and God.
Fucking God. The VTubers and God.
God.
Yeah, those are the two. Those are the two sides.
There's only two sides
There's no
here.
more hell anymore. It's just V.
You either
It's
ascend to VTubing or
it's it's being anime woman or God.
yes. You go to the depths of VTubing hell.
I mean, I talk really highly about like VTubing as a whole, just because it's like
Yeah.
it takes a lot of like creative. Like I respect the amount of creativity it takes to like come up
Yes.
with your own idea. I mean, some VTubers like pay for their model, which is
Mm-hmm.
already a pre-rendered like thing, but they kind of make it their own.
Yeah.
Um, but like some like start from the ground up. They just like
Yeah.
build like a really they have a cool backstory for themselves. They release it piece by piece,
Yeah.
little bits, and then they like foster that into how they like talk
Yes.
to their chat and stuff like
Oh my
that, which
gosh.
rules. I
The
think that's
different
so
voices,
cool.
like
Hmm.
everything. And this is why, like, when I feel like I just only scratched the surface when I did my brief stint in trying to VTube, because
Hmm.
never in a million years did I was I like, I'm gonna create my own character, I'm gonna talk differently, I'm gonna be different. Like I never thought about any of that, and becoming a whole different person or persona was just so out of the realm for me. And these people, I think they're just so creative to do that,
Hmm.
because it's like you have to keep that up. Some people are streaming for 8 hours a day, and you keep up that voice, you keep up that persona,
Yeah,
and like that's what keeps people watching.
yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a lot of cool like VTubers out there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like nuts how they I mean, eventually you relax,
Yeah.
it's like whatever, you just become a version of yourself and the character that you created, and then
Yeah.
your audience is fine with that. But I mean, it takes some time, it takes some like
Mm-hmm.
goofy little jokes and stuff like that. You're just a little guy, you're just a little birthday boy, you're just hanging out.
Just a little
Yeah,
self-deprecation.
a little self-deprecation, maybe like some like spotlights into your real life, but
Yeah.
like eventually you just become the combination of the two as your persona, and I think that's very cool
Yeah.
because you get to see like both, because usually a lot of people like present a character as like something that they're not at all.
Yeah.
Like Chibidoki's one of my favorite VTubers. She's like a demon
Mm-hmm.
something or other.
Like some demon.
Yeah, like a little mean demon thing. But like as you get to know like her streams and stuff, she's very like self-deprecating, and she's
Gotcha.
like goofy and stuff like that. But she's trying to come across as like mean and
Mm-hmm.
just like clever, but she's not sometimes.
So the idea, what you think, is like the way, like if you were just to take a glance at the or the VTube avatar, like what they're trying to convey is that. But the idea is you're spending time in their streams, you're watching them, you're getting to know them a
Exactly.
little
Yeah.
bit more, and that's, I think, the appeal of VTubing as well.
Yeah, so like it feels more personal, even though like they're a character.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the shell cracking a little bit, like the mask
Yeah,
crack a little bit, and you're like, oh, okay,
definitely.
like I'm here for the real bits of it, and it's like really. it adds another layer, which
Mm-hmm.
where you're like, okay, like I like this. I
Yeah.
also watch a lot of TikTok videos where there's like jingling keys while I'm like listening to something like political, trying to like understand it. So, but I mean, I don't think I'm much different from other people.
Hey, if a VTuber was delivering my political news instead of Philip DeFranco, I think I would be okay.
That rule. If he was talking, there was a weird, like super happy VTuber just talking about like fucking Ukraine right now.
Just
That would go
the
so hard.
Russia-Ukraine war, Trump getting shot. Like,
Oh my god.
I could just, but it's like a VTuber talking in that like little baby anime voice. And just telling you everything that's happening in the world.
Oh my god. Oh man.
This is my idea, by the way.
With that, yeah, like, copyright. You can't take
Copy
this. You can't take this. Well, speaking of delivering
news.
something, there was I'm sure everyone's seen it. Like, and it's like, wow, this is like a fucking fever dream.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking Dodgers baseball team
Yes.
had a bunch of VTubers.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say just a bunch of VTubers. They're like,
They had like pretty. They were
well,
pretty mainstream
I knew
ones,
one of
right?
them. I didn't know the other ones.
Yeah.
I mean, it was to it was the Dodgers, not attempt. I would say it's like the Dodgers, like, you know, respect
Yeah.
for celebrating Japanese heritage that night.
Ooh, okay.
As like I think two baseball players like gave like trinkets, not
Mm-hmm.
trinkets, but like, you know, like stuff to the, not stuff, but you know,
Souvenirs?
yes,
Is that what you're trying to say?
not souvenirs or something you know, personal that like to
Oh.
the Baseball Hall of Fame in America.
They don't, so they donated
Yeah.
something.
So it was like a
Gotcha.
Japanese heritage night, and it
Oh,
was
that's
all that.
cool.
And so the best way they thought to do that was to bring three VTubers onto the screen to sing and also just uh do the let's play some baseball,
Hell yeah.
dude.
I
Which
mean,
is
they're coming in, man. They're taking your job.
I remember seeing that the night of and
Hmm.
being like, this isn't fucking real. I
It's
cannot believe
crazy.
this.
I
We've gone so far as people.
mm-hmm.
We're so cool.
Derogatory.
We are the coolest.
We are cool. Derogatory.
Derogatory.
Perfect. Yeah, that's wild to me that we just we like I think it's more so that the Dodgers recognized that VTubing was getting more popular, that they
Mhm.
were like, we have to do this because like this shows Japanese heritage in some way as well as like is good for marketing and mainstream.
Instead of something just like straight up racist.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like it could also be hard.
Do like Japanese.
Yeah, it'd be hard to like do something like that without offending anybody or like appropriating.
Have you watched what is it? The Great Bake Off or whatever? Great.
The Great British Bake Off?
Have you watched that?
I've watched like one or two seasons. I'm
You
not a adept in it.
You didn't see the Asian or the Japanese
No.
influence night?
No. Oh no. Oh no. I did not. What am I about to hear?
You learn that English people are just as fucking ignorant as
Oh,
Americans.
absolutely. So here's the thing. I feel like British people are more ignorant and proud to be ignorant, as opposed to like America is a little ashamed of their history. So like their ignorance is like more shouted upon.
Uh-huh.
But like in Britain, no. In the UK, nothing. I feel like they're just like, this is life. This is whatever.
I feel the opposite.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because those people had no idea what they were talking about. They were making like panda statues, like out of like cake and shit.
Yeah.
They just did not understand at all.
They
Like,
understand pandas?
that's not Japanese.
Oh.
That's Chinese.
They were like,
what are you
look,
doing?
pandas exist, okay?
Yeah.
And someone who's Asian liked a panda at
Yeah.
some point in time.
They're like, this is, yeah, like they build like an attack helicopter going through Vietnam, and they're like, hell yeah. This is Japanese as fuck.
It's just... Okay, so they had the Dodgers, and that's just to show like you're saying like VTubing has become part of mainstream now. Like it's becoming more like visible.
Like in quotes acceptable. Like
Acceptable. Okay.
it's a part of like life now. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like watching any kind of TV show
Yeah.
or like streaming has kind of become that as well. Like
Yeah.
instead of watching TV, you're watching a stream. That's like you're like instead of watching Sherlock or like Harry Potter for the eighth time, you're just watching like some British streamer talk
Yeah.
about Harry Potter.
I think I completely agree because I feel like the tone shift as well from like the what are they, Gen Z, or are they Gen Z, or are they like what do they call like the 2000s babies? Are they Gen Z?
I think they are. Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like the
millennials, Gen Z.
shift,
Yeah.
yeah, the shift was like I want to be a YouTuber to just like being a content creator, which could also include
Hmm.
like creating TikToks and then streaming. But I see like streaming is now a lot of like people's goals because that is like you do it at home. You don't have to really do anything and like you're just chilling.
Yeah, it's and then also the added benefit of just not having your face out there. So
Yeah,
like I mean, you could just
exactly.
do whatever on top of that, so that it kind of rules on its own.
Yeah.
Uh, but just being on that big screen in Dodger Stadium
Yeah.
is insane to me. That's like a weird milestone that America has taken,
Mhm.
even though it's like not all of America. It's not.
Yeah.
We're not all gonna do that. Like out here in
And the sticks.
yeah, fucking Atlanta.
The radical right.
Yeah, and well, I mean, it's like purple. This is like a purple state.
We're a purple
It's
state.
like a purple state.
It's real purple.
They'll never do that. They'll never
No,
fucking do.
definitely not.
They'll never
Definitely
fucking do
not.
that. At
I'd have my dad texting me being like, "Do you see what the shit is on fucking Truist Park?" It's like
Hooters girls.
Hooters?
He's like, I fucking wish.
Well, some of those VTubers have jiggle physics.
Oh my god, I fucking love that shit so much.
Sorry, what was
That's
that?
not because I. That's
Sorry?
not. Yeah. And then just because I like it doesn't mean I'm watching it for that reason. That's also
Boom.
a point that I cannot fight against.
Yeah.
If you put any
Look.
pressure against me, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's
So you're
not
saying-
because of that.
So you're saying if I press you hard enough, you'd agree that you watch it for the jiggle physics?
No, I just wouldn't say anything, and you wouldn't have a podcast.
Damn.
Anyway.
Anyway. So we mentioned VTuber organizations before.
Mhm.
So you sent me an article about this one VTuber.
Yeah, I got fucking heated
Mm-hmm.
on this. Like I remember I followed this along as it was happening as well.
Oh.
Because that's when I got into VTuber or watching VTubers and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I was following along loosely.
Yeah.
Like I knew there was some, like shady shit happening.
Mhm.
It could have been handled differently in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's like, oh, it was just like a failure on like the company's fault. Oh, that's just common, They just
Mhm.
people who are obsessed with money just do not know how to talk to people
Yeah.
at all. Of course, I'm talking about VTuber Selen Tatsuki
Mm-hmm.
and Ninjisanji's whole
Yeah.
termination arc,
Yep.
which was talked about by FleshTubers and VTubers alike. Well, I mean the VTubers that like were allowed to talk about it, not the ones that were employed by Ninjisanji.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that.
They're one of the bigger companies, right? Or was one of the bigger companies that were managing VTubers?
It's one of the bigger ones. Yes,
Yeah.
it's one of the bigger ones. They have a Japanese branch. They have an English branch.
Gotcha.
And we're going to be talking about the English branch, the Blanche.
The Blanche.
Those four women. Getting up to nonsense, talking about sex, even though they're over 80.
Dude, Golden Girls is great. Okay, Golden Girls
Look
is
at
great.
Blanche.
Okay, the English branch, you're saying.
Yeah, the English branch failed catastrophically
Mm-hmm.
to just be decent. Just be decent human beings. In my opinion, again, this is under my like vile part
Yeah.
on my.
This is the vile part.
Yeah, like I might have drank a little bit of ASAP Rocky's whiskey while I was writing this part.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, just a little bit of Prince Mercer in me.
Yeah.
And as I kept reading it, I was just listening to the song over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over again while just sucking down whiskey and fucking typing my little heart out.
Yeah, the article you sent me was pretty atrocious for the actions that happened. So I
Yeah.
can't I can't even imagine what these people went through
Yeah,
or
and
this person went through.
as I was writing shit like,
Mm-hmm.
how dare they?
Yeah.
How the nerve.
I love this is the best because I can tell your emotions just by looking at the script. You actively are just there's just here. It's just Twitter thread talking about terminating Celine's contract. Foul. Just
Fucking
foul.
vile shit.
I think that's great, and this is why you're running this, is because this is something that's very passionate to you. And so, like, I don't think there's any way that I could do this justice.
Yeah, people's rights.
People's rights.
People's rights is what I care about. All right, to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was
What happened was.
there was a very successful VTuber named Selen. She was the Sky Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking huge respect among all of her like peers. Other
Mm-hmm.
than like I didn't watch her personally during this, but I started watching her afterward, and she's really
Oh,
yeah. When it comes,
dude,
we'll talk about it. We'll talk
her
about it.
model is cool. The
Yeah,
Sky Dragon one,
cool as
I
hell.
liked that a lot.
Cool as
Like
hell.
the wings on her hair looked dope as shit. I liked that a lot.
Cool as hell. You know, people watched her because she was like actually like entertaining. She was
Mm-hmm.
entertaining. Women entertaining. Oh my god! Can
We're
you
back
believe
on
it?
this,
Can
huh?
you believe it? Can you fucking believe it?
Can you fucking believe
Can
it?
you fucking believe that?
I don't know.
Her. So, where all this stems from, where she got terminated, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people would say unjustly. I guess you could say contract wise, justly. I don't know.
It depends.
I don't have the contract. Like no
Yeah,
one has the contract, but justly with
quote unquote.
quotes,
Yeah.
big quotes around it, terminated, unjustly, you know, person talking to another human being.
Mm-hmm.
Was terminated because she without permission from her management company, which is Ninjisanji.
Yeah.
You know, again, one of the bigger companies out there doing this kind of like management companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just on a side note, incredibly predatory.
Wait,
Like a
really?
stupid amount of like the stats on it were like nuts to just read.
Ooh.
And like because there were so many different numbers, I don't want to just say a number. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say like they are over they are over like the predatory amount of numbers like that you pay them just to manage you is
That's so insane.
insane just for them to find you like
Work or anything?
just not just work but I guess just like you know people to like your other fellow VTuber team
Oh.
you're just you know like just to sponsor a keyboard or something that comes out
Shit. So
is
like
nuts but
they
like they still
oh,
make some like they still make a lot of money they still make a lot of money so it's like screaming about 10,000 even though you should be making 100,000 you know like kind of
gotcha.
like that or I guess in this economy, screaming about a million but making 100,000.
So it's like you're still making decent money, but it's almost like highway robbery to the fact that
Yeah, because
like
it's
the
your money.
commission
You're
that
the
they get for it.
yeah. You're the entertainment shit like that.
Oof.
Yeah, it's rough and it gets rougher. She as a surprise for all her like you know loyal fans and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't put it behind a paywall or anything like that. Yeah, she got the rights to a song. Lily Pichu's Last Cup of Coffee. She did her
Okay.
own rendition of it.
Oh.
Very good song. I love Lily Pichu as well. Like
I
as
don't think
a
I've heard of Lily Pichu. I mean, I think I've heard of her, but I don't think I've heard anything like from it
yeah,
or
she's
her.
like in that like offline TV like space. You know, like
Mm.
Michael Reeves, like that crazy
Oh
like
yeah.
little machine guy, little machine gremlin,
He
whatever.
is
That's
crazy.
his
That's
girlfriend.
a wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wait. That's kind of wild. Do they do things with like what is her name? Like Valkyrie?
Yeah, they're like in the same circle as Valkyrie and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's Pokimane was part of their offline TV as well.
Oh, okay. And Pokemon's doing
But
her own
she's
shit
gone
now.
now. Now
Yeah,
she's like
she's
doing
gone.
her own thing, like doing
Yeah.
all these like she's the girl bossing.
She is girl bossing them cookies,
Oh my
man.
god, I would love to do a Pokemon episode. I would talk about Pokemon for like, hours.
Hours.
Anyway, back to the depressing shit. Uh, she got full like ability to
Yeah.
sing and like she like even like oh my god, I need to show you the video later.
Yeah.
It's so well made. It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sentimental. Like the original version, like Lily's is like kind of sad but you're happy, and
Yeah.
then like this is like more like sad but like super sentimental and happy.
Oh.
So it's like they're two different flavors, but it's still the same really good song.
Oh, okay.
And she did this with her own money. She paid her own money off like that she got from the
Yeah.
little bit that she did get to pay for all the music, all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and then she just gave it out to her like followers for free. Ninjisanji did not like that.
So Ninjisanji didn't have anything. They didn't touch that at all. So
No.
they didn't have any rights.
She didn't ask for permission for them before just
Okay.
doing that. Even though it was just kind of like a simple like, oh, that's just a goal, dude. That's just that's an easy shot.
So she would have had to ask
It's
permission.
just free. Yeah, it was just like a free thing that she just did on her own, and they did not like that at all.
That's ridiculous. So they weren't making money off of it. So
I guess so. Yeah, I guess like deep down, I guess that's the reason.
they were upset because
I guess thinking about it now, yeah, like I didn't even think about that from that angle because of just rage. I just like,
he's just like
yeah,
justice.
like I was like thinking
for
about
Celine.
it. Yeah, thinking about it now, it's like, dude, you can make some. You got a Lily Pichu song with some really good graphics behind it.
Yeah.
That's some $1 million shit right there.
Yeah. And she's doing it to give
But
a gift to her viewers.
Yeah, like it was just a kind gesture, and
Yeah.
it was like really well made and stuff like that. So I definitely understand now. I understand why they were so fucking mad.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was terminated for that.
Got you.
Sent. Oh my god, I don't even want to read these.
Is it that upsetting to you?
No, I mean yes and no, but it's like corporation speak for the tweets that they like sent out before they even told her she was like let go.
Yeah.
Were just like corporation speak for just like terminated this for that reason, even though it had
awful.
like for like just being like not following the agreement that we like we set in front of her, and it's like it's all her fault. It's like what the fuck.
So they didn't take any accountability. They were like, we just need to do this like legalese stuff. We're gonna cut ties with you and like just pretty much kick you to the curb.
Pretty much. It's pretty cut and dry like that. I mean, she was going through her own things through that time as well, like emotional things as well. She got to an extremely low point after that happening.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't doubt that at all. Like she tried to take her own life and all that. It luckily didn't work.
So there's just something humorous about you.
Someone crossed their fingers somewhere.
Yeah,
it didn't work.
Like, fingers crossed, it didn't work, guys.
Yeah.
No, that's brutal because at the end of the day, I think that's where this conversation of person versus character comes in, because genuinely like Ninjisanji, right?
Ninjisanji.
They did not treat her like an actual person. They treated her as a property, like a
VTuber.
Yeah,
perhaps?
a VTuber property.
Little cartoon, little guy.
And that was it. And I think that it's so telling when companies do this, because to me, it's like a blinder. It's a blind spot for them. It's like they saw the ability to market on this like up and coming type of content, and then completely decided to screw the actual person that was doing it, just out of the money and well-deserved rights.
Like they're willing to just like fight over that.
Yeah.
Even though she was like an apex VTuber, no one gives a shit about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because like you said, like I think VTubers don't really do much. Like I don't know
more about Apex. Apex is garbage.
Oh yeah, Apex is. I mean, it's fallen off. Their battle pass changes they're doing are a little bit wonky. I don't know what they're really thinking
but
there.
anyway, yeah, it's like wild to think why that happened. Like maybe they just wanted to make an example out of her. This is also
Yeah.
the English branch, which isn't like the most fully established branch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the Japan one would be like, you need to fucking stop. Like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah, yeah,
about?
yeah,
These are,
yeah.
but I mean, at the same time, they're also very like terrible. But
Yeah,
like,
I can see that.
they care about their brand at least a little bit.
Right? I feel yeah, and I feel like
Brand
you're exactly
clarity.
right. Yeah.
They'd be more along the lines of like, hey, you need to like,
It's a three
if
strikes
you do that
warning kind
again,
of
you
thing.
need to
Yeah.
like tell us so we can profit off it. You bitch.
Yeah, and I think like something like that, which it feels so extreme that the company would just cut ties immediately from her doing something like that. And so it definitely feels like the branch wasn't flushed out enough
Mhm.
or really understood like what needed to happen or how to manage their assets because
Mhm.
that just feels so like so extreme. Like me, it'd be like if I came in late to work one day and they fired me, but it was the only time that I'd come in late to work. And it's just like, what? It's like the only time I've done this. And like I've worked really well for you the rest of the time I've worked here. And they're like, no, we can't have that. That's nonsense.
Yeah, it's insane. They said, oh my god, these quotes are gonna fucking kill me here. The
You got
company,
this. You got this.
and I quote, repeated breaches of contract and misleading statements on social platforms,
Ooh.
as well as, uh, quote, non-compliance with rights confirmation. You see why I'm getting angry here. It's like fucking,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? What are we fucking talking
It's
about?
like I said, it's
Because you
just all
couldn't
legalese.
monetize. It's now that you brought that up, it's because they could not monetize
Yep.
that shit.
I believe that.
It if you can believe it, it gets worse.
It gets worse.
Yeah,
I don't feel like it could get any
it
worse.
gets. Oh my god, so it gets a little worse here. Strap in, audience. If you can believe it, they fucking Order 66 her as well, just like
What is
straight up,
that?
like
What is
fucking
Order
like
66?
Star Wars shit, where like the
Oh.
clones like that work for the Empire kill all the Jedi. They also got other VTubers that they own in quotes that they own to like have like a little press conference and talk shit about her.
Oh my God. So they pretty much were like, they held a
Like
whole thing and they were just like, this person sucks.
yeah, they were just pretty much like, oh, she breached contract. It's like her fault, actually. Even though I am 100% sure, I am so sure
Oh
that
man.
in that like I talked about the last cup of coffee video, like
Yeah.
and how it's like sweet and like
Yeah.
sincere, and it's like talking about like it's more along the lines of like all the friends she's made and like how
Mm-hmm.
they've grown together. I am so sure that the like I'm not gonna like say who, you can look them up on your own, like who did this for Ninjisanji, but I am so sure they're in that or in that like video, like as like her friends and stuff
Yeah.
like that, where she's like, I would like to have the last cup of coffee with you before we ever like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
it's
was her community. Like a
terrible,
lot of times when you make a community
terrible
like
shit.
that or you have like online friends and community, those are the only people that you're really like interacting with and it really makes sense that these people end up being close to family for you. And then the studio who's helped you get to where you are like just backstabs you and then all of those pseudo family members just do
Hmm.
the same exact thing.
But it's like I feel like a lot of them did it under duress because people
Oh
just
yeah.
don't do that, especially like entertainers just don't like a
Yeah.
group of them at least don't do that, especially.
I feel like I would argue yes and no, mainly because
I mean,
like
I'd
I
do it because I'd want the money.
yeah, I feel like it's money driven and then also people just really want to get ahead, like that jealousy inside. So like if she really was top tier VTubing,
Mm.
some of her like lesser folk like that were under that company probably saw it as a stepping stone to reach a little bit higher. I don't know. I could argue the point of like while I want to believe the best in humanity because I've seen the cattiness in some way in the VTubing or
Mm.
like whole type of internet, it's so easy for me to believe that they would backstab their own.
Hmm. I mean, I would backstab you, but I'd have a little tear, like this one singular tear
Oh,
that
well,
was
I
coming
appreciate the
down.
emotion
Yeah, yeah.
against it.
For millions of dollars.
Okay.
Like,
Look, you're
I would
okay.
be like, I feel really bad about this. I wouldn't say that at all. I'd be like, she had it coming. And then just like one tear just coming down my face. You couldn't see it on my model because it's not.
It's
I
not
didn't pay that much for it. But
I
you
don't
would
have the
see,
emotions.
yeah, I didn't add the emotions because I'm
No,
cheap.
look, I feel like money drives everybody. It's very easy to say that like we would do anything for $1 million, but I also feel like we all have inside of us like that compassion. And when it
Hmm.
really comes down to it, if you already are stating that they're working under duress, I feel like the compassion would weigh out because like this could be people's final straw for the company. Like this could be
Hmm.
the way like while there is jealousy, that's arguing the other fact of like okay, maybe this is what I needed, the motivation I needed to like leave, to like
Right.
graduate on my own
Graduate, yeah.
and go and like do my own thing because like this was pretty fucked up reading in the article and like I when you are under a company like that and it's not just with VTubing, when you're under a company like that, they own the rights to everything. And the fact I was blown away the fact that they locked her accounts immediately. They were
Yeah.
like, "We terminated our contract. You have access to nothing." Like
Yeah.
I couldn't even I could search up Selen Tatsuki's Twitter.
Hmm.
I could not search up her Twitch.
Hmm.
So like the Twitch presence doesn't exist anymore. Mainly because that was I believe where she did the majority of her stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they immediately knew to purge that. But like other social media is like she just I can't view the tweets on Twitter, but I can still see her profile. But I was like, interesting that like she still has somewhat of an old presence, even though she doesn't exist anymore because
Hmm.
she's graduated.
Right.
But it's it's like it's only a glimpse. It's like that VTuber existed, but
Right.
doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm. But I mean, she did finally respond.
Oh, she did.
She came back. She came back on her old Twitter profile
Mm-hmm.
under what was it Doki Bird?
Doki Bird, yeah.
Yeah, Doki Bird. Uh, got a new avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And then her first stream back. Came back with a fucking blast, dude.
Yeah.
Probably got TOS, but it doesn't matter. She didn't do it for the money. She fucking played Freebird. Fucking
What a
blasted.
legend.
Yeah, fucking blasted it. And Freebirded into talking about everything that she had to go through, about
Wow.
all the the tweets she made about like harming herself and stuff like that.
Wow. So she got
And
deep.
yeah, so that's the only reason we're even talking about this, is because she came back instead of
Mm-hmm.
just like a normal person that just they lost everything. They just kind of like cut the
Yeah.
loss and go. She just happened to have like another portal in which to like show her audience that she's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she became Doki Bird, and I suggest you follow her if
Yeah,
this ever comes out.
I actually saw her the Doki Bird because I was
Mm.
like really interested when I was researching stuff to kind of piggyback on top of what you were saying. I researched it and I actually saw there was a person who posted a Twitter post and they stated that it says surpassed just hours ago, which was on June 13th, said this milestone places Doki Bird as 130th largest VTuber on YouTube, which means so this shows that Doki Bird had 700 and almost 39,000
Mm.
subscribers, whereas her old VTuber, Selen Tatsuki, had 737,000.
Let's
So
go.
the way that she was able to migrate all of her like old fans and is doing
Mm.
better in this
Migrate, because
new
she's a bird.
right. But she like I think that's amazing because I can't tell you like being at in the content creation atmosphere how hard it is to migrate from one successful thing to another, to like move things to push your influence, because I'm seeing it now with like changing what I was doing. I'm not seeing engagement, but because of her like stand with her
Hmm.
company, the graduation of her old VTuber,
Hmm.
reborning basically letting this reborn like
Hmm.
come across. Like people are going to accept the power that she's taken for herself and celebrate that with her.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really beautiful.
Yeah. She's making her own money now. She's got her own like shit.
All I know is more power to her, because that had to be rough. Like, you don't know what you're coming back into when you do something like that.
Yeah, especially if you're like, a little bit mentally or emotionally just like
Yeah.
not, just
Like, when
not,
you're
you're
not
not
all
feeling
there.
yourself. You're not feeling
Yeah.
yourself right now. It's like you're at your like lowest point
And
is what
going
it
up and
feels like. That the bravery to just like come back and hit it as hard as you can, explain
yeah.
everything, and fucking make a whole company look like a bunch of
Yes.
idiots while at the same time just making so much money.
Yep.
And I am so happy that she is has more followers than she did,
Yes.
and that they just like dissolved her agreement because that shit sucks anyway.
Yeah.
She's her own bird.
It sucks too, because I feel like if you really think about it, you shouldn't need a company to help you with stuff like that, but because so many businesses and so many like other things will try to take advantage of you when you're up and coming,
Mm-hmm.
like you almost need a management company
Yeah,
to help you.
you kind of do. It's part of the game, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
eventually you just run out your contract and then you like do it yourself. But
Mhm.
or make your own management company. You know what I mean?
Imagine.
But anyway, that's been talking about VTubers, the good, the bad, the
Yes.
ugly, the real ugly,
Oh yeah.
like anger inducing.
I will say I never dove this deep into VTubing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so intrigued on everything that we learned about like Celine via, or aka now Doki Bird,
Mm.
and just like her situation itself is very inspiring.
And it's very common, which is
Yes.
crazy to me.
And
It's very common.
and that's like what's, I think, the scariest part about it, is that anybody who's a VTuber could be taken advantage of at any moment and have this exact thing happen, and they
Mm-hmm.
might not be as strong-willed as somebody else.
Right.
So it's just like, there you obviously give yourself a little bit more vulnerability when you put so much of yourself online, whether you're an original character as a VTuber
Mm-hmm.
or you're two people talking about VTubers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're still putting yourself in a position to be vulnerable with
Mm-hmm.
people, because you're sharing your opinions. You're not creating a whole sense of self. Like, you're still pretty much yourself. And that leads people to want to take advantage of you. And
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're VTubing, most of the time, like, you don't want to show your face, vis-a-vis you most likely are not the greatest
Yeah.
socializer. So like, it's going to be even more easy to take advantage of you from a big company's
Yeah.
sake.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, it's just a trickle down effect. So it's just like, you already have social anxiety. You already are new to everything. You're already like being approached by this big company that like is very intimidating, don't have any support system to really help you.
Mm-hmm.
And then like all of a sudden you do one thing and your contract is terminated. Imagine. Like,
Oh.
that's so wild. But I enjoyed listening about all this stuff with you, because I feel like I didn't have as much, I don't want to say respect, because obviously I think everybody has a level of respect, but I didn't really engage with VTubing enough to be like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a thing that I would want to go and watch.
Right. It like at the end of the day, it's just like let's creators that choose a different like just a
Mm-hmm.
different profile. They just want it to
Yeah.
be something different. Like some people like it because it's like they're just funny, they're goofy, they like the communities that they like create are like
Mm-hmm.
really meme based. So it's like everyone's in on the joke instead of just like nobody being on the joke
Yeah.
unless you were there. Like and I mean it yeah, it's just like it's a very cool niche that I think people should just look at if like they're not sure about it. Just watch somebody watch a Doki. Maybe you don't like that. Find another one because
Yeah.
they're all just like different people, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
it's like finding your favorite streamer. It's like
Exactly. And they have categories for it now on Twitch.
oh
Like,
really?
and tag, well,
Jeez.
there's tags, I believe, that you can search for VTubing. And there's all levels of creators. There's going to be
Mm-hmm.
all levels of different types of VTubers, and just in general, like, just remember, these are people that are behind their facade that they're wanting to put up for themselves because that's what makes them feel comfortable, and they're entertaining you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so let them entertain you. Be entertained.
just
Just
let it happen. Just let it
Just
happen.
let it
Just
happen.
be entertained.
Oh, thank you for telling me about
Of course.
VTubers.
And if you've made it this far, thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this will probably not come out,
Who
but
knows? I think this was a
oh,
very organized and very well done episode.
oh, well, yeah, because I did it.
Wow. Honestly, no. Yeah, the real test will be the next one that we do that is me focused, and then we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to hear more from me, I don't do anything.
That's true.
But you can follow me on Instagram
Yes, you can.
at _tipsy_ghoul because I couldn't get the original.
That's true. And then you can also find me on all socials, Febe Anime. You'll probably see me on Twitter posting manga panels and talking about manga and anime because that is my corner of the internet.
Fucking cringe is what you're saying.
Oh. I just hit 500 followers on Twitter today, okay? And I was pretty happy about it.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment. Good job.
Thank you. I'm just being a degenerate about manga and anime. But thank you guys so much for watching the Our Internet podcast. I hope you learned something today that you didn't want to learn, and maybe it got you to open up your world a little bit.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so.
We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. Bye.
Bye.